update?
The update is the program where we talk about news, trending issues making the rounds on social media, and we give you perspectives and feedback from you, our audience. My name is Ehi Ohiani.
I am Makcit Rindap.
And I am Sylvia Ishegbe. On the update today, we analyzed 3 stories. And why did we pick these 3 stories? You get to find out. They are hot. Okay, so we look at 146 Abuja Kaduna Train passengers who are unreachable, says the Nigerian Railway Corporation MD. We also look at Will Smith's story, and the development is that the Oscar winner has resigned from the Academy over the Chris Rock slap. And finally, our story, the last story for today, will be Davido, Nigerian singer, becoming the first Nigerian to feature in FIFA World Cup 2022 theme song.
So, what are your thoughts on all these issues we've raised so far? We'll be going into details soon, but you can also share your comments, questions, or just, contributions to us via social media. We are Click Naija on Facebook, we are Click Naija 1 on Twitter and Instagram, and on YouTube, we are Click Naija as well.
So the first story, 146 Abuja Kaduna Train passengers who are unreachable, according to the Nigerian Railway Corporation MD. Nigerian Railway Corporation has said it has confirmed the safety of 14 more passengers on board the train, bringing the total number of safe passengers to 186. Now, of the remaining 176 passengers, 8 have been confirmed dead, while the families of 22 passengers have formally declared them missing. This indicates that a total of 168 passengers have yet to be accounted for, including the 22 missing as declared by their families. The contacts, these contacts, are out of the 362 validated passengers who were on board. That's the update we have from that story.
So this story now, one of the things that broke out recently after the initial attack happened, people were saying there were 970 people on board. Now it came out that, like they said here, 362 passengers only were validated, that had tickets given to them. But then now we're not hearing that they probably were not as many as 970 people on board the train to begin with. But that still doesn't mean that they were actually 362 people that were validated. So now what happens to the other people? How do you begin to reach them? How do you begin to tell who is actually missing, who is still alive?
So the managing director actually came out, in his statement to say that the news that was on social media saying it was above 900 persons that were on board was false, and that even the train itself, the capacity of the entire train, that it had about 9 coaches, and that train was an 840 capacity train. Okay. So there's even no way 900 persons could have been on board. But the question of whether it was even 300 plus that was on board, 360 something persons that were on board, a lot of people have been questioning that, because the Kaduna Abuja or Abuja Kaduna trains are usually very fully booked. In fact, people have to book online. Sometimes you go and then they tell you the tickets are finished and that you should have booked ahead, and stuff like that. So I think the question of these numbers, we might keep seeing changes in numbers in the coming days, because people are not really sure of what exactly happened, even though this is the report that the managing director has given. So that's what we will go with for now. But if there were more people, we should be worried, really. And if there were 300 plus persons in a train of 840 capacity, what does that say? Are they trying to say that that they underbooked that day?
Yes, well, they are not fully utilizing the service now.
Yes.
Then how come people actually have to leave the train station because they don't get tickets, if that's the case?
Exactly.
So it actually brings up a lot of things that we need to be considered. But sadly, some people are still unaccounted for right now. Like, how do you reach these people? How do you know if they're okay or if they're missing something somewhere?
There've been so many pictures coming online showing families that were abducted during that train attack. I will describe that as a hijack, because stories that came out of that, people who survived and who came out were testifying that some of the persons that boarded that train were part of the network of the people who hijacked. So when the hijackers or when the attackers came or the bandits came on board, there were already persons who were seated, especially in the first class section, and pointing to persons and saying, because they were already listening into people's phone calls and conversations, so they could probably just guess or tell that, oh, okay, this person
is wealthy or something.
Exactly, and things like that, which is really a source of huge concern. If that is actually what happened, then what happens to the identification process that happens before you board a train? I mean, even before you
purchase the tickets too.
The tickets,
you have to show some form of identification.
Yes. There's ID at every point. Even if you're about to fly, you need your ID. The same thing when you are boarding, your ID at every check. So what form of identification did these persons present if they were members of the bandits themselves?
Yeah. It looks like a lot of questions has to be answered by the authorities, the people who sold the tickets and all. And also a lot of investigation has to be done, especially from survivors. What are their stories? What are they saying? I've seen people come online, tweet about their experiences. And one particular one that circulated was the lady who survived was saying that the pictures coming in from the scene, her story is a story alone and for her to tell, and maybe for her to remember and say, okay, I was there and I survived. But these are things that will help and aid investigation. If you have pictures, because she said she had pictures. I read that story and I was like, wow, this is something the police should look into, or whoever is investigating should look into, and make sure you get all these details. Yes. Identify some people. Maybe they are among the 168, who knows? And help in the investigation.
Definitely.
So
These 168 definitely have good information as to a lot of
eyewitness account, so it's definitely to an extent more credible than what we might all speculate.
Yes.
So let's look forward to better days and much more security. I know that the Governor of Kaduna State has called out to the federal government for help, and the latest is that he has even cried out and said if the federal government does not help, he's going to call for foreign mercenaries to come in to help in the situation. Well, I don't know.
That's another whole kind of worms, but yes, let's just hope that something is done and something is done soon.
Yes.
Really fast.
Yeah, definitely. So we move to the next story. Will Smith, the legendary slap. I don't know how to qualify the slap, but yes, he called the slap inexcusable in his statement. And so he resigned from the Academy, the Oscars Academy, over the Chris Rock slap. Now, the update is that the actor announced in a statement that he has resigned from the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts and Science after slapping presenter Chris Rock on stage at the Academy Awards 2022, also known as the Oscars. So in a statement, this is what he said, I quote, "I am resigning from the membership in the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences and will accept any further consequences the board deems appropriate," Smith said in the statement. He further concluded and said, "Change takes time, and I am committed to doing the work to ensure that I never again allow violence to overtake reaction." Of that part.
Yes.
I mean, the slap trended. Like, there were memes about it.
Lord.
50 Cent actually did a meme. He was on the road, "Everybody hates Chris," on the initial photo that came out, and people made fun of it. But surprisingly, actually, a lot of foreign artists have refused to comment on the slap. A few of them scattered here and there and beginning to talk about it maybe almost a week later.
It was a shocker.
Maybe because the issue that led up to the slap is also, it's almost as sensitive as the slap itself.
Yes. And then looking at the personalities involved, these are two huge names in the black community. So it's like if you side with one, it seems like you're not siding with the other. And you're torn between loyalty and doing what is right, based on your own perception and your own values. So a lot of people have mixed reactions about it, but everybody, of course, has condemned the slap. Everybody has definitely condemned the slap. Now,
I mean, Will Smith himself has admitted
that he was
wrong. So that's on the side of Will Smith. On the side of Chris Rock, we haven't heard anything yet. There have been a lot of concocted apologies by
the only thing he said
people.
Was he went for a show, his stand-up comedy and all. The only thing is that he's still processing it, and then at the appropriate time he's going to talk about it.
I think that really hit Chris hard. Like,
And
like
the way he
well.
reacted, yes,
Exactly.
you know, like he really just, you know, snapped back from
That's
whatever.
the-
you know, when I was watching him, I was like, this is true professional.
Yes, like you have to
And
give him
it's
that. You have to
big.
give him that.
I can't even, like, you know, it was something that could have thrown anybody off balance.
The
world,
reactions from the people
international
in the audience,
TV.
there were memes about that too. Like everybody's reaction is like,
Yes.
like what just happened? So
Yes.
imagine that he too
So
went
people
with
were
that kind of
still
reaction.
smiling and laughing.
Yes, because
Some-
it was a
some-
huge
some didn't even
switch.
see it. Some people didn't
Yeah,
even
it was
see
too
it.
fast.
Yes.
Oh.
So at the moment it happened, it's like, did this actually just
I
happen?
mean, people saw Will walking up to the stage. Nobody imagined that this guy was going. But do you know one funny thing was that Will was still laughing up until he saw Jada's
Face.
reaction.
Yes.
And for me, that's where
this really
the
got to my
aspect
wife.
of crossing the line comes in. Do you understand? I hope also, because this was about Jada's own reality, about what she was fighting and all that. I'm also hoping that this is sending a strong message to the entertainment industry on crossing the lines with your entertainment, with things that you
With
think,
jokes.
yes, with jokes.
Okay, but you know, there's also this thing. Dave Chappelle has actually been an advocate for allowing comedians be, because what is comedy most times, especially for the very successful ones, what they do is it's satire. You know, they present issues that we are facing in a way that we can swallow, that we can understand better. You know, so if you begin to say they should censor their words, it takes away originality. That's what some of these comedians are actually arguing now. That where do you draw the line? You want them now to censor their crafts, you know, because for a lot of people still maintain that the joke he made about the G.I. Joe and G.I. Jane and Jada was actually a funny joke, you know, and that Will Smith being a comedian too.
I'm not sure
should
many
have
Nigerians
taken-
understand that joke.
If you have watched G.I. Jane,
G.I.
you're
Jane.
expecting the two of it.
No. Many people just hear G.I. Jane. And
So I mean, so there are a lot of things, a lot of sensibilities were definitely, you know, touched, you know, that day because of what happened. But really, it's like you cannot tell the comedian not to be original, not to be funny, but you cannot also not tell someone not to feel the way they want to feel about your material.
So in being
Really.
funny, in being funny and being spontaneous, maybe you shouldn't make jokes out of things that are sensitive, like
Exactly.
that. You're dealing with alopecia, and then you're joking about it. Yes, Chris Rock said, yeah, well, a close ally to Chris Rock said that he doesn't know that Jada has alopecia. So
Yes.
that's why
he made
That was
the
he
like-
made that joke.
Okay.
But yes, those are the things that are sensitive to people, body shaming them,
Yes.
things about their body, their height.
sexist jokes
But-
and things like that.
yes.
Things like that.
So you should joke about something else, maybe.
Well,
Not
now that
your
Will
body
Smith
parts.
has you know, has resigned from the academy, of course it means that he's not part of the decision making process
Yes.
anymore. But people are also now asking what happens, because this slap took place just before he won his own Oscar. You know, so it's like a lot of people are also calling that his Oscar be revoked, even though the academy has said that they're actually still investigating.
But what this
So-
means for him is that, okay, I've resigned from this. You can't take the Oscar back from me. Because
Yes, it's like he went
what
ahead
did-
of the
yes.
he went ahead of the situation.
Yes, and then next year he can also come back
back.
to present an award because if you have a replacement, somebody taking over you now, you can award them, be the presenter of that award. So you can also come back because you've taken this post. But if you're still a member of it, that's when they can actually say, bring the Oscar back, do this, do that. Okay,
But do you
so-
think if it's taken away from him, I mean, is he ready? Do you think he's ready for that with this step that he took?
I think at this point he would have weighed his options. So
Yes.
it's like, what's the worst
Yes,
that could
with
happen?
advice, of
So he
course.
probably knows
because
that
this
it
was
could
his
come.
first Oscar,
Yes.
and it was like a high point for him. I remember what
was.
he said that Denzel told him just before he went to pick up, you know, his Oscar, that be careful because at your highest point is when the devil, you know, comes knocking. So
Yes.
let's I don't know. It's it's really a
But speaking
mix.
about Denzel, they did a lot of back prayers. And
Yes, they said after the slap,
You know?
actually, Denzel and Tyler Perry actually came up to him and they prayed, you know, about it, because to them this wasn't normal. Everybody that knows Will says this isn't Will at all. So it just had to be the devil, you know.
Has a
But
lot
like,
going on
yes,
inside of him.
so
That devil
Something
that
was
we all
pushed in.
fight, right?
Yes.
Yes, we all have our own demons, and then but his came for him. at the Oscars 2022. We move to the next story. The story of Davido, our very own Nigerian singer Davido, becoming the first Nigerian to feature in the FIFA World Cup song, the 2022 theme song.
Yes, my baby.
Wait.
I am a Davido fan.
Someone
has rule.
Who is beefing?
Now, speaking about beef, actually, even though yes, the song first of all, based on FIFA's official statement, they said, this is just a way to bring unity, using the song, 3 people on the track, an American, somebody from the Middle East, and somebody from Africa, just a way to bond the whole country. And then what else bonds the whole
people
world?
actually said that they're targeting
music and football.
that
So
they're
that's the
targeting
perfect
different
way.
audiences, that they try to make sure that they capture different audiences, in while they are preparing for the World Cup, so that both people who are football lovers and non-football lovers can identify as well. So what better time for Davido to feature or to be featured in the FIFA song than now that Nigeria has crashed out from
So Davido took us to the World Cup.
Despite not going to the World Cup.
Yes.
And that was actually another thing that brought some, controversy on social media, because people were saying, why is it Davido that would be the star, to take us to the World Cup in this sense? People felt they were bigger Nigerian artists, bigger Nigerian stars to have, been given this honor.
I don't know why people just feel like...
What are they saying? They feel like
exactly
he bought his way in, or what?
Maybe not bought his way, but they just feel like, there was an alternative reason for picking him, not because of his music prowess. Maybe I have no idea.
Like maybe
his popularity is an example. Maybe that's the criteria for picking
like
this
maybe wanting Nigerians to still be interested in the World Cup. Commercially, or I don't know. Like when you look at the commercial angle, for an audience like Nigeria not to be interested because their team is not there can be a huge loss on the side of the organizers. So the Nigerian market is very, very important.
No, but I mean, let's remember that this is something that would have probably been in the works too for a long time.
Yes, and the song got released just barely few days after Nigeria crashed out. So which means that it's not something that just started. They've been preparing and getting ready for this even before now. So but again, I know that if in spite of the fact that Davido was featured or is featuring in that song, there's also been the thing on social media that Nigerian artists have not been celebrating their own as they should, and that there's some form of dissing or beef between some other artists, the
goats of the industry, actually, because Davido actually tweeted, he said, "Me versus the music industry," so it's like he probably didn't say it in so many words, but people did not congratulate him when this was actually dropped, when the song was released. Not so many people, talked about.
You would have expected that the Wizkids and the Burna Boys would have congratulated him.
Why do you
maybe not. Yes, maybe not. Maybe not these people, but a lot of people. Some tabloids actually mentioned a couple of artists. Like, okay, you'd expect that these people, being people that are already heavyweights in the industry and already internationally known too,
but maybe
would
why
appreciate.
Not these people?
Would appreciate.
They unfollowed themselves on social media. What happened?
That was just the
beef of many years.
Yes, and a fan thing. It's really just.
Why did it happen now?
Against them.
Why is it happening now?
They were never following Davido.
And with the Grammy,
so who unfollowed who?
It was Davido that unfollowed Wizkid and Burna recently.
Oh, so Davido was the one following.
Wizkid was not following.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They were not
following. Okay, so suddenly Davido feels like, oh, okay, you guys, I'm now.
You don't rate me, so No, so you don't rate me, so I won't follow you, because like he didn't feel the love. I guess that's what he meant by me versus the music industry.
What, like Burna Boy and Wizkid are the music industry?
No, like all the people. It's been a whole discussion going on and on, about how people are not supporting him. Like, they would other artists. Maybe he didn't put in those words, but that's the consensus.
So like you said, the Grammys just
that Wizkid lost
out in his category. Yes,
category
Burna to
Angelic,
the world music category.
Okay.
Yes,
World music, yes.
category. Angelique Kidjo won that one. You know.
Yes.
And people.
But were they feeling like it's now their personal property, so they should be winning it all
Every
the
year
time?
That's
we
what,
win
I
now.
guess that's what
No,
the fans
you know, when you
feel.
start something, that's what we're Nigerians. When we start something,
Oh, someone said that. Someone said that. I don't get why you people are entitled to this win.
Yes.
This world, especially the world music category.
Yes.
Like if Burna Boy doesn't win it, Angelique Kidjo shouldn't win it. But Angelique Kidjo won it first before Burna Boy.
Exactly.
actually
And
won it.
Angelique Kidjo has been an international artist for so many years. She's a UN ambassador, you know, and things like that.
She's a peace
I
advocate.
think this is her
Yes.
first Grammy, actually, and it's
People
I
are-
mean, she's a mother in
they
the
said the
game.
song, the Mother Nature song that won the award,
Yeah.
is actually talking about climate change in Africa and how it affects Africa. So you see,
Exactly.
where this
These
is
are real
thing.
issues
So what is-
that affect
That cut
the world.
across,
Oh,
borders
yes.
and ethnicities and everything.
You know one funny thing with us here in Nigeria, when a song is sweet, you know what I mean by sweet?
Yeah, so
The
Not
essence
sweet
became
as
an
my
anthem,
taste.
a world anthem. Imagine.
So
Look
we
at the
think
hits.
regardless
last
regardless
year.
of the content or the lyrics of the song or the theme of the song, we just think that this song supposed to win Grammy.
yes, maybe
But
just because the
internationally it's not
sound.
looked at that way.
True, true.
Do you get? They analyze things more critically. They analyze things based on content, based on the theme, how this is impacting on other.
Originality, the story. Are you carrying the story of Africa along?
Along the
Yes.
story of the world,
And
you
not
know.
just a babe
Yeah.
around.
Like the essence of the song. Should be Africa. Okay, thank you so much. Yes, our 3 stories, we have highlighted them. We've talked about it in depth, and we want you also to react and tell us what you think about these stories. Your contributions will be welcomed, and your comments, suggestions, please feel free to like this video, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel.
And make sure you share.
Yes.
Share.
Share.
Share to somebody, okay, who needs this gist.
Share until it gets
Join
to
the gist.
Davido and whiskey. My name is Sylvia Ishegbe. We'll be back for more on the update.
My name is Makcit Rindap.
And my name is Ehi Ohiani. This program was produced by Hafsat Issa. Bye.
Bye bye.